Hi everyone, welcome. Steve Westman, live Audiophile Roundtable. This is a fun one. MOFI Abraxas. Where are aftermarket prices going from here and now? As we know, MOFI just released the 33 RPM super vinyl of Abraxas. It was a one-step, only 2,500 back in 2016. It was worth a lot in the aftermarket. We're going to get into where we think prices are going to go from here now that MOFI is, cutting more from the DSD machine. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens to these aftermarket prices. So let's bring in our guests. We mix it up today. Start with, this guy here. You know him as Tublandia. I call him Jefferson. There he is. Jefferson at Tublandia. You got the shirt on. You're wearing underwear, so maybe if you want to show the folks the shirt.
Yeah, this is the legendary
there you go.
University of Vinyl.
You promised to wear pants today for the show, so that's cool.
Did I? Okay.
So we were talking 33 RPM super vinyl MOFI Abraxas. You're gonna do a little bit of an unsealing, unboxing, or a showcasing something today. You gave me some sort of Easter egg this morning when we were chatting.
Yeah, I was just gonna show you, what you're not.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Lots to talk about there. We'll get to that. Let's bring in some more guests here. You know him as University of Vinyl, or Tim. There he is, Tim from Colorado. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, good to be back. Thank you.
Nice to be back. It's been a few minutes. Nice to see you. And I know we were talking at the top of the show. I mean, where are things going to go in terms of prices? I mean, Paul Simon one steps, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. You've got Janis Joplin's Pearl one step. Where are these prices going to go? I mean, we'll get into that as well. But we have one more guest today, and he's been, a lot of viewers have been asking for him, saying, where has he been lately? Has he been suspended by you, Steve? What's been going on? But he hasn't. Just has been busy, I guess. But he's been on before, but really cool. He's been Stereophile magazine approved. So we're talking to a real expert here that's been approved by the Stereophile magazine. Would you like me to bring him in?
Yeah.
Pibithal, welcome.
Hello.
So you put Pibithal Stereophile approved, so I'm going to call you on it. Start right there. Welcome to the show. Everyone was wondering. I got a few texts like, "Where's Pibithal been?" I said, "He's around, but it's summertime." But you say Stereophile approved. Tell the folks what that means, and congratulations too, because I already know.
Well, the tagline was basically to poke fun at some people that said some things about me and what I do. So that's what that's really about. But someone, I think it was Harry, messaged me and said that in this edition of Stereophile magazine, there's a mastering engineer. I forget his name. His dad did all the Living Stereo Mercury stuff, and he did a comparison of Grateful Dead, American Beauty, streaming, I think Super Audio CD and vinyl versions, and so he used my vinyl rips of American Beauty when I did my shootout on my YouTube channel. He used those and basically said that they sounded amazing. And so all the people that say that vinyl rips don't sound close to the real thing, and you can't make a good comparison, and it's not apples to apples, and people that play the album and then stream it on YouTube are so much better. Well, you're wrong. So there you go.
So that a big middle finger now to everyone, all your detractors?
No, I wouldn't say middle fingers. I'm not. But I'm just saying. Look, man. I mean, I've been doing this for like 16 years. I do get some of it right sometimes.
Excellent.
Give me a little bit of credit, please.
I know.
You certainly put a lot into your setup to to optimize everything.
Well, then now there's a whole thing about frickin' like linear arms and pivoted arms. I saw that whole shenanigans go on. So we'll not get into that today.
Well, the big news, I mean, our thumbnail today, I'll go back to it here. You see, MOFI Abraxas. I mean, where aftermarket prices going from here now. I think it was back in March. Check this out. This was my show with George Borden. Back in March, I knew something was. You got Steve Westman, you got George Borden, MOFI Abraxas 33 RPM super vinyl. Will it happen? Audiophile Roundtable. There you go. Will it happen? That was back in March, and yes, it happened. big announcement. I guess was it this week or late last week?
I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday, yeah. So I haven't. It's a non-numbered, first of all, so I haven't purchased it yet. I think it's $60 USD, non-numbered. I mean, it's DSD 64, which is the DSD 64 was used for the Santana Abraxas 2016 one-step as well. So it's the same mastering file used. Now they're cutting it to 33 RPM. Not limited, where the one step's 2,500 was 2,500 limited copies. Now that thing, and we were talking about this, that thing skyrocketed in price, right? I remember in 2016, I was telling you guys before we went on, it was $99 US. I was sitting there going, $99 US for a record? Nah, that thing won't sell out for a while. I'm not too worried. I sort of forgot about it. You know, I don't know how long it took before it sold out, but I remember when I went back to look, I'm like, shit, it's gone. And then, you know, from $99, it went to, I don't know what the highs are. I mean, where it got to at some point, but probably someone out there paid $2,000 or probably more at some point, right? So now we're at wondering, you know, where the prices are going to go from here. You know, if you look at a lot of the MOFIs and the one steps, and they're converting to the 33 RPM super vinyl. I'll start with Jefferson. What are your thoughts here on all this that's been happening lately? I mean, we think we should have expected it, knowing, you know, after the DSD gate thing that this was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us expected it to happen, especially once we saw the Bridge Over Troubled Water coming on super vinyl. But at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing for people just getting into vinyl. If you like the DSD step and you like that sound, then it's going to be a lot more affordable than paying $2,000, $1,500. Although I looked on Monday, I think the cheapest one I saw was $900. So I predict these are going to plummet pretty drastically. What's up, Fred? And anyway, so I was just going to say, you know, you'll still, you can buy it, but you won't be able to get this big thick box, right? You're not
not only that, big thick box, and your fingerprints get all over it. So once you touch the black, look out.
Yeah. Can you guys see the fingerprints? I've had this out like 3 or 4
Hold on,
times.
I want to see your Jefferson.
There you go. There you go.
So if the police ever come there for a problem, they're going to look at that and go, "Oh my God, we can get his fingerprints.
We'll just grab the one step." Yeah, exactly.
You need to have your medical grade gloves next to your shelf, you know.
Exactly. And then the other thing you're not going to be able to get anymore is this pad. This is unnecessary.
Okay, stop right there. So anyone who has a one step, I think that sponge or that foam pad has a really bad smell to it. I hate the smell of that thing.
I have a question. Is the role of Mazzy being played by Jefferson today? Is that what's happening here? Is that
no?
I'm sorry. What, Pat?
Is the role of Mazzy being played by Jefferson today? Playing about the box and stuff.
No. Mazzy does Mazzy. I'm just being kind of tongue in cheek about all this shit. But you know, you're not going to be able to get the individual sleeve, right? You definitely will not be able to get this height sheet where it shows the tape going to that first disc.
Oh my God! Hang on.
They missed
a step.
There's no drop down. Yeah. So this alone is going to be a collector's item. Okay. So you got you're not going to be able to get that. You're also not going to be able to get a second album. And despite all the foam, you have the obligatory MOFI seam split.
You know, that's worth its weight in gold as well.
Exactly.
Right? Everyone has those.
And this was right there when I first bought it. So it's original split. And you know, you'll get the jacket. That's fine. And and this is actually a pretty cool jacket. But you know, tongue out of cheek, and in all seriousness now, what I thought was really cool when this one came out, which was the first one they did, was they had this print by Matt Clarwin of the artwork, right? And then they also sent his business card so you could order more stuff. So they were kind of supporting this artist at the same time. So that was cool, you know. And then I was telling Steve today, I could have sworn that there was an advertisement for Carlos Santana's tequila that he was hyping at the time. And I went and looked, I didn't see it. I mean, maybe I threw it away. Or maybe I'm just my fuzzy memory, because I remember they were hyping that tequila all over the Bay Area back in the day. So, I mean, all kidding aside, yeah, I mean, it was fun while it lasted. But now people that didn't have $2,000 or, you know, or want something affordable can now get this. And it sounds pretty damn good. It's not the UK. It's definitely not the original. I mean, I think the original still gives a run for its money. I was at the record store I was in yesterday. I was helping out, and a friend of Sheila E.'s came in for a birthday party, and he was like, we got to talking about Sheila E., Azteca, her dad Pete Escovedo, and about we moved to Santana, and we were talking about, oh, okay, well, you know, the original sometimes is as good as anything. So we wanted to get a gift for her and something for Pete, so we put on the original. It was a very, very clean copy that Henry at Open Mind had, and oh my god, it blew us away. I mean, I didn't have one step to put on right next to it, but it's hard to go wrong with the original. And you know, Sheila E.'s buddy bought it sight unseen, so there's still that if you can find a clean one. And but you know, this one step or the super vinyl, whatever it's going to be called, is going to be available, and that's cool. And I can't wait to see it.
So 33 RPM super vinyl. I should ask. I didn't ask you this, Jefferson. Did you order one?
No.
Okay.
I don't buy anything from Music Direct or MoFi. I'll trade for it. I'll get it from Analog Productions or something like that. But I didn't pre-order it.
So Patrick, DSD 64 is the what they're using, not DSD 264. So I guess we know why. I mean, obviously they're using the same file they used back in 2015 or 16 when they grabbed that from the master tapes up in New York at Battery Park at the Sony studios. Any thoughts on the mastering process and what you think it'll sound like versus the one step?
Well, the one step and the original MoFi had the channels reversed. So
hang on, stop. So repeat that again so everyone hears that. What did you just say?
So I've had the MoFi here, the one step in my possession. I ripped it on my current system. I have this UK pressing that I've ripped on my current system. I also have a quad pressing in there that I've recorded years ago, and the quad and this have the channels correct, and the MoFi has the channels reversed. So this is a thing. This has been a thing even with the CD, and so this has been a thing. You know, this is not the first time that this has happened for this title with MoFi. Is that the channel? So because I listened to this today, I never have done a comparison between the two, between this one and the one step. But I did a quick comparison of the first song and noticed immediately the channels reversed once I flipped them. And then so this sounds better. You know, this UK, nice. And don't sleep on the early Columbia titles of US artists, you know, and it gets a nice orange label. You know, this sounds fantastic. It's way more open, got more dynamics. You know, the MoFi sounds good, but I mean, not $2,000 good when you can pick this up.
Well, and then we'll get into the prices as well, the $2,000 in a few minutes. I know, Tim, you had brought a couple of your one steps and we're asking what some of the aftermarket prices will be. But to
be fair, you're not going to walk into any shop and just find a UK orange label, you know, Santana Abraxas, you know, and you'll probably pay upwards of $70 with shipping to get a clean one from the UK. If you get a seller that actually, you know, does a good job. You know, and the MoFi does not sound bad. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, I'm shitting on it because it's DSD." It doesn't sound bad at all. It's not a bad sounding copy, but it's not my favorite.
And also too, Wally Hyder Studios is who recorded that album, you know, originally as well. And we all know he did, you know, some Grateful Dead. He did Fleetwood Mac, Jimi Hendrix. I mean, CSN. I think they did the Deja Vu album, the self-titled. I mean, he's got a lot of great, you know, records that he recorded out of that studio. So I mean, that has a lot to do with it, I think, as well. There's probably a lot of great recordings out there of this album. So I mean, I would think.
I didn't say that the channels being reversed was a non-starter or anything. I'm just saying it to let people know that, you know, the channels are reversed. You know, I'm not bitching about it. I'm just making a statement. So yeah.
It's almost like the Getz Gilberto thing all over again.
You know, that stuff happens.
Yep. The Getz Gilberto's channels were switched for the longest time, up until like 93 or 94, I think.
So again, Music Sanctuary channels are backwards. It's not. I mean, 2K record if you buy it used. I mean, when you bought it brand new, $99. That's how much it was. And I think it was Scott Wheeler in the comments said that it was sold out on pre-order back in 2016. If anyone remembers, I remember seeing the price, and I just was like at the time, oh man, that was a lot back then for that one album. I mean,
So the
it really was.
The 33 super vinyl. If I'm hearing this, it's got the same plates as the one step. It's going to be reversed.
Not same plates. Won't have the same plates.
Same file.
Same file.
Same file. Sorry.
Yeah. So presumably, if they recut it, they can switch. Well, they'll have to, right? Because it's 33, so they can presumably switch the channels back. But I mean,
Right.
as Dorgon says in the comments, I don't know if I've ever heard of a sufficient explanation as to why the channels were reversed or what happened, other than just was it an oversight and then it just kept getting perpetuated.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on it was just like a fact. I just noticed it while I was listening to it today, and I was like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting, And I did check like other issues. Like I said, I have a quad. Even on a quad, the channels are the same. So, and that was a different mix down. So they had a different mix down of the quad, and the quad is still the same as the UK and apparently the US. So.
Yeah, and people should keep an eye out for that SQ quad because it is a different mix, but it's also something that's relatively affordable too, compared to like a one-step super vinyl or getting.
There's like 5, I think, Santana quad albums.
There's a
he had quite a few. He
there's
did
a bunch, and then the Japanese quad is even another mix.
Yeah. So I like quads.
I'll ask the viewers if you guys we have a bunch watching right now. How many are going to order the 33 super vinyl of Santana Abraxas? Tim, I'm still on the fence.
I'll have somebody send it to me.
I only have a US original with noise. I never bought the one step, and I haven't bought a MOFI record in a while, but I bought it on Music Direct because it's got free shipping compared to direct with MOFI. So
okay,
I'm happy with my CBS Half-Speed mastered copy. Now this is a digital, I understand that, but I think it sounds really good, and it was $40. I don't know.
Nice.
So prices now going forward, and that was the theme of this. Do you think this one step, the Santana one step, will go down in value because of what's been happening with what MOFI is doing? Cutting it to 33 RPM super vinyl. Like, what are your thoughts there?
Oh, it's already been going down even before this was announced. Like I said, when I checked Monday, and there was one for 900 that was in near mint condition. So I suspect it'll.
There's the chart. There's the chart there, though, Jefferson, right from Discogs this morning. I cut off the end, so you can see it looks like a stock market. I don't know, it's up and down type of thing. But I mean, you look back and you look back there. I mean, there was some good price. Well, there was some decent prices. Under 250. I don't know what that meant, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, it was the first one, and so there'll be some, I guess, sentimental or whatever value in that. Plus the the original card showing the process. But yeah, I just don't see it staying at the stratospheric level it was. I mean, but I'm wrong all the time, so who knows? But I think the fact that it's affordable now and it's at 33, it's more accessible for people, so more people at the end of the day get to hear it, and that's a good thing.
So look at the prices here this morning. This is in euros, I think, but you look at this, 729 euros, 850 euros, 850 euros. So
yeah,
but that's only on disc 2 on that one. The one, the 729, only has one of the discs.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even see that. There you go.
Go to the next one down, Steve.
This is a screenshot because it's bigger, but
sorry.
you can.
Okay.
I didn't even read. I just saw the prices, but yeah, you look, no box or paper sleeves on the second one.
Yeah.
But the third one here for 850, I think, does have it all. But yeah, so, but I mean, are they selling? Right, that's the thing. I mean, if so, I mean, you can probably still buy them.
What's interesting about this chart is I'm looking at this chart, and it goes back to like 2022 for it sold. I went and I looked up like Supertramp, Crime of the Century, the original MOFI, to look at that one. That one has traded so much, and it only fits like the last 2 months on it. It's bought and sold so many times as opposed to this one. But I mean, and the price is pretty much the same. But I was shocked at how
Mhm.
much people have bought and sold Supertramp, Crime of the Century, the MoFi. So
Right.
I mean, it was very interesting to me to see that.
Are you talking about the UHQR MoFi?
No,
or
not the
the
UHQR, just the
just the
normal
regular,
one.
the
Just
Like
the
the
normal
regular
one.
MoFi?
the MFSL from like
Yeah,
1979, 80 or whatever it
the
was.
shitty sounding one that sounds like all the other shit ones from that era. And so yeah.
So you're
I
not a
said it.
fan of you're not a fan of the MFSL Stan Ricker half speed masters then?
No,
well, we
not really.
talked about that. We know
Yeah.
that from
I
previous
like
shows.
Beauty. I like American Beauty.
So, but I thought it was interesting how many times that thing's been bought and sold over the last 3 months. It like I said, they only fit like 2 months on the chart here, whereas it goes back a year and a half on this one. So,
So now one steps going forward. We know that a lot of people return their one steps during the whole lawsuit or class action. Now, I know you held up your Paul Simon, Tim. What are your thoughts there? You made some observations about some of the aftermarket prices right now on these. So you have that one. What do you got there? What do you have there?
This is still crazy after all these years. And to be honest, the original, which I think is a sterling cut, sounds great. I don't know why I bought this, but I did, and
that was pre DSD gate. That's why you got sucked into it.
I believe whiskey might have been involved.
Possibly,
yeah, maybe, but I think this was $125. I went on Discogs, and I'm pretty sure I saw something for $57.
Yeah,
and maybe sealed for $70. So, this is not the stock market. By the way, you are 100%. You're 100% correct. That's
that foam is disgusting. I would take it out of there. It'd stink up your room. I don't think you can sell those for $60 USD right now. I think Janis Joplin's Pearl, Paul Simon, what's the other one that Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Those aren't going for any more. I think $50. Someone would probably take it off your hand, feeling sorry for you for $50. I mean, this is again.
I have a closet full of one steps. They're probably like depreciated immensely.
Again, this isn't. You're not buying these for appreciation. It's funny because we were so used to that during during COVID or before that, where oh my gosh, you have to get the latest MoFi one step because it's all analog, and then we'd see it in the aftermarket at $225, $250, just like Bridge Over Troubled Water, the Simon Garfunkel one step. I think at one time, people were buying and selling that for $250, $300 and up, just like Donald Fagen's Nightfly one step was $500 USD and up. I've seen the prices just on Jefferson, on our MoFi buy and sell there in the Facebook group, right? We've seen those prices before, right? So I don't know, where are they going from here? I think there's way more supply and demand. People that thought they were going to make a quick buck. I mean, the flipper market in quotations, as they say, that sort of dried up in a lot of areas in this market right now. I'm not seeing a lot of the flipping any longer. And I think you got AP that had the numbered copies for Atlantic. They also give the unnumbered copies. Rhino's doing the same with some of their hi-fi stuff. So that is really taking some of the collectors who are in it just to make some money are taking a hit on this. I mean, but for the average person that wants this record, doesn't want to pay exorbitant prices, man, this is not bad.
No, and that's exactly right. I mean, more than likely, the MoFi one steps and the UHQRs will stabilize somewhere around where they sold out. Maybe some more, some less.
Right.
I can't think of the UHQR, yes, but on the MoFis, I can't think of a single one that's supposedly the definitive version. Regardless, I mean, your point's well taken, Steve. That the pricing is settling down. We're not at home buying.
The demand is settling down too. People don't give a shit as much.
Right, and they're making these things available, and now that they have the digital stuff, they can just press these at will on demand. And believe me, if the aftermarket gets too far out of hand, they'll start pressing them again.
Oh, man, I got one of these suckers too. I didn't even know I had them.
I'll give it. I'll $40, Patrick. $40. I'll take it from you.
I'm like going through. I'm looking through these one steps. I have them. I have no idea some of these that I have.
I'll throw this.
I didn't even know I had this thing.
I'll throw this one out. I saw the comment here. So Christopher paid $200 for the MoFi Nightfly, the 33 RPM version. I bet you MoFi will come out with a 33 RPM super vinyl of Nightfly at some point. So that $200 will not be $200 for that copy.
Yeah,
right.
If they did it for Abraxas, they're going to do it for Nightfly. It's a licensing thing. They have the mastered file. Why wouldn't they?
Well, and as long as they have the licensing, right? I mean, if the secondary market gets too far out of hand, then they're going to reissue it, right? Look at the Prestige series that AP had. Those were great. I was the original Kool-Aid drinker. I bought the 200 grams, and they came out in 2012, 2013. And I loved them, right? But I bought them to listen to. I didn't buy them to flip them or whatever. Then they started getting crazy and crazy and crazy. But because I'm such a completist, it's like, I have the set. I can't possibly break it up, or I won't have the whole set anymore. And then, yeah, eventually, you know, Chad mentioned in a couple of videos, these things are crazy. And then he reissued them. So, I mean, you know, the market's going to take care of itself one way or the other. And if the secondary market gets out of hand on something contemporary, they're just going to press more as long as they have the licensing.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, I know talking to different music executives, record executives during COVID, they had no idea sort of how to look at, you know, 2 years forward because of the demand. It was such a weird time. And so, you know, a lot of these licenses probably, you know, they got during, you know, a peak time in the sales. So, I mean, we'll see what they do going forward. I mean, it's interesting with the Abraxas, it's not numbered. So, I mean, anyone can get it. That's why I'm not rushing out to get it. We know it's DSD 64. It's 33 RPM super vinyl. You remember when they did that Bob Dylan, the Desire? They just did this little sneaky email on a Thursday or a Friday, and it was 1,000 Desires on 33 RPM super vinyl. That was interesting. I actually grabbed a copy of that. I do have a copy of that. But that I thought that
sounds really good too.
I thought it does sound really good. It's my favorite Bob Dylan album. I thought it would be worth a lot more in the aftermarket than it ever, you know, than what it is today. And I haven't looked for a while, but I don't think it's that expensive.
I think it's held its value.
Somebody asked about why did it take so long for Abraxas.
Yeah,
it probably took so long. I mean, Legacy had a license for Abraxas at 33 RPM that Kevin Gray did for a while, so maybe that had to run out. That's just an assumption that maybe that had to run out before they could redo Abraxas, because I know Legacy had that in print for a while.
Yeah, I remember way back in the day, Steve, like way when you started doing your show, I think you said Desire is going to be the next $1,000 album.
I did say that. Thank you. And I guess, you know what? No, that's like 4 years ago. But that was based on I was looking at, okay, limited quantity. It's crazy time. Everyone wants it.
Yeah.
We thought it was an analog cut. That was another thing. I was looking at, okay, 2,500 were pressed and sold of Abraxas. This one is 1,000, 33 RPM super vinyl, which is rare at the time. Yeah, this is going to be a big one. And it never hit up. Never did it. I think I said $500, but it never got to that level.
It was a reasonable assumption at the time. It's just, you know,
I got a lot of slack for it though. Some people thought it was.
Has anyone seen this? So this was advertised as like it's like a Japanese version. Like they got the one step, it's sealed, and they added this obi and this back obi to it.
That's cool.
So
I've seen that in
when I bought this liquor was involved when I bought this, by the way. So but yeah.
So let me say, going back in time, let's rewind COVID times 2019-20. You're at home a lot. You know, you're sitting in front of your phone, which we all do on Discogs, or watching, you know, reading the different forums and seeing the different people excited about posting about their MOFI one steps. How much was just, you know, FOMO, whiskey, and late nights on your phone one of the culprits to you guys and us buying some of these records? Because I'm 100% guilty, Your Honor, of that.
Oh yeah.
I was
For sure.
I was subject to FOMO. The fact all my friends were doing the same thing. There was whiskey involved, maybe something else. I mean, I don't know. But
remember the first Craft one step? I think it was it Quiet Kenny?
Yeah.
It was,
and then after Craft, they got smart and they gave us these codes. If you actually signed up to their exclusive club, you got this code where you could order a day in advance, and you felt all special. Oh my God, I got this special code, and it turns out they still haven't sold them all out from that 5,000 pressing of Miles Davis or whatever it was.
Yusef Lateef, and then there was Coltrane, and then it was Relaxin' Miles Davis, and I think Relaxin', is still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, I got caught up in the whole Blue Note thing for a few years. Like it was like I was like all in, you know, and now I've just kind of cooled off on that too.
So Christopher,
the poets or the classics, Patrick?
Both of them.
Yeah.
I had the
So
Music Matters. I did all that stuff. So yeah.
So Jefferson, Christopher is still paying off his COVID records. Think about this: if you're paying with debt, interest rates have gone up, your prices have gone down. I mean, if you're trading on margin in the stock market, you're absolutely bankrupt right now. I mean, sir, and Tim knows what I mean. That's
Yeah.
it, man. But yeah, I mean, I hope a lot of people. We were feeling pretty good. You saw the values on Discogs, and you're looking at your collection, going, "Oh my God, this isn't bad. This is great, right?" And I mean, I think right after the DSD gate, we really saw the values of a lot of our records on Discogs drop off. And I mean, it's great that they're valued at such a thing, but go and sell it. If you want to sell your Blood, Sweat, and Tears one step at 125, or you think it's worth that, try to sell it for that. You're not going to. No one's going to buy it. No one will probably buy it at $60. Probably 45 to 50.
But you know what? You can go down to your record store and get a great 2i Columbia pressing for $1.
Yes.
And it'll sound great.
Yeah, but you got to find it clean, because that Sati is very unforgiving on noise, and it's the very first track. So it's that typically you have a little bit more noise on the intros. So that's the only caveat there, Patrick.
And I'll blame those goddamn YouTube FOMO guys, right? Causing a lot of FOMO in the industry as well.
So the Dylan Desire Supervisor, cheapest right now is $240. And
what did it get to for the high? What did it ever get to?
I don't have the chart in front of me.
Yeah.
It went up there.
I would think 300 or 400, maybe
I
5.
did a shoot out of that, I think, and I think the white label promo went out over the super vinyl.
Really?
I do believe, yes.
Well, and that's another thing I'm looking in the comments during the whole, the heyday of buying vinyl, when you're drinking some whiskey 12 o'clock at night and your wife's in bed and you've got your phone accessible. I think a lot of people were buying more than one of those, they'd buy 2 at a time or 2 per household. So that was another thing as well that we were seeing, and they would take one and, put it onto the MoFi buy and sell on Facebook or Discogs and flip it that way. We're not we're clearly not seeing that at all now. I mean, it's just not happening.
Well, I mean, the manufacturers aren't going to let that happen when they can pick up that money themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it just really depends on the actual record in terms of the value. I don't see the Eagles one steps, going anywhere near they once did. I mean, I haven't. Again, I'm guessing, but I will guess you probably most of those Eagles one steps are probably under $100. But I guess right.
Did Hotel
Probably.
California ever sell out?
It's impossible. There's no way. It really, I think things really started to peak around when Steely Dan, AP announced the whole Steely Dan catalog and how many they were pressing, like 20,000 of the first album, and then of course we got to Asia, which I believe is 30,000. I never know the number, and then we know it's 20,000 after that. But I think that if you look back at prices and sort of we had the SD gate, that was sort of the peak for everything. I think around that announcement.
I think people got pushed to the limit with that, with paying almost like $200 for a freaking Steely Dan album. You're kind of like going, well, I mean, FOMO be damned. I'm just kind of like, I think I'm at the point where I don't want to pay that kind of money for that kind of stuff.
And that's the thing. That's the thing too. I mean, being Canadian, it's the 35% exchange rate. I've talked about it into nauseum already. But then at some point, I was like, oh shit, I might as well go and look for the originals, which I did. And there's some great. I mean, the Canadian originals, a lot of good Canadian original cuts as well. So I mean, I'm saving myself. I can find them for $10-15, and save myself how much money and buy 10 or 15 records instead of just hanging on to one. So that was something as well.
But the problem is that you can buy one of those things, and if you don't like it, you're basically kind of stuck with it, because they're not, you're going to lose your ass on a lot of these, and it's a bit, if I'm going to spend $200 on a record, it better sound better than anything else I have of that copy. It should be. I shouldn't sit there and go, oh, sorry, my $15 UK pressing of Abraxas beats that $1,950 MoFi one step. I mean, I don't have the box and the cool foam, but at least I've got the best sounding version for me.
You mean the stinky foam?
You don't have the stinky foam, Patrick. You don't.
That's
I think lot to be said for that stinky foam.
It's like you sit there and you go and you go, okay, if you buy a record for $200, and I'm with this with stereo equipment. I bought a $5,000 cartridge and I hated it from the beginning, but because it was $5,000 and I spent the money, I told myself, this really sounds good. I kept lying to myself until I finally said, you know what?
We've talked about that. It's the bias, right? We get that bias in our head. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, I'm not going to. Nobody wants to hear that their $500 record isn't as good as one they could buy for $5. I mean, nobody wants to hear that shit. You know.
Well,
I find too with the MOFI one steps, the way they were all mastered sort of have that similar sound to them, if that makes sense. Going back, I remember I did a review on Eric Clapton's Unplugged, and I remember how soft his vocals were compared to my Chris Bellman one. I mean, I knew there was definitely some differences in the mastering choices that were made at the time. And I remember doing a review on that. I said, man, I mean, for the money, I'd rather take the Chris Bellman for $40, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not asking the labels to master to my personal taste. I'm just asking them to at least get in the ballpark where a majority of people think it's better than the original. And I don't think they've hit the mark on many of these titles. And I bet there's a lot of people that would back me up on that.
But again, we all bought the one steps based on thinking that it was directly from the analog tape, right?
Jazz titles notwithstanding. They do a much better job on jazz than they do on rock.
But Thal, the reason why the prices the way they were with all these one steps, again, getting back to where we think things are going to go, because now we got Abraxas 33 RPM super vinyl. Now things are going to go down because there's more supply than demand for a lot of these things. So I think you're going to see a lot more prices going down. It just has to be that way. It's just basic economics.
The stigma on the Abraxas was because everyone thought that it sounded so great. That was the stigma, and nobody's really touting like yes, Fragile isn't going for $2,000, and that sounds really good. But for some reason that's a more popular title, I would think, than Abraxas, but it doesn't go for that kind of money.
Well, I wonder how many years MOFI is going to have Michael Jackson's Thriller one step on the shelf. I mean, what did they do? How many did they print of that one? 40? Is it 40,000 or something?
40K. That's why.
Wonder what they're at.
We started doing the math. We were like, wait a minute, $1,000 per stamper. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's normally about $5. Normally a master engineer, it's about 500. It would be about 500 per stamper, right? I mean so they're running the tape. We have to run the tape 30 times per side, or whatever it was. It was like an astronomical amount.
That was their downfall. I mean, that literally was their downfall when they said that, because people are like,
absolutely, Patrick, because it was like, wait, you're going to do
wait a minute, wait a minute, you're running that tape that many times? Oh, my bad. No, we're going to do this. That was literally their downfall.
So I think depending on the title, I mean, Tim put the Paul Simon one up. I mean, the Janis Joplin Pearl, all those ones. You're never, guys, going to get your money back for those ones. The $125 you paid, forget about it. It's not.
Maybe have a contest to give away that Paul Simon.
Yeah,
you should.
But Steve, I just wanted in the comments, Dorgan said I have 14 copies of Fragile at home, but no one step. I got you covered, Gordon. Don't worry, Daddy will take care of you.
I've got a sealed one step of Fragile. Someone gave it to me.
So, and you know what? The Yes Fragile one step actually is a really great sounding record.
It really is.
Oh yeah,
it really is.
I mean, you can get the George Piros, you can get the UK Plum, the Kevin Gray one that was done at Acoustic with Steve Hoffman on that one in 2012, I think it was. That one sounds good, but they all sound different. The one step doesn't sound bad either. And they haven't done the Atlantic 75 yet. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too.
I like the UK Plum myself.
I love.
I'm not teasing, but Patrick Milligan from Rhino Hi-Fi knows I want the Cure. So yeah, if he's watching, bring it on,
please. Because I've been collecting some UK originals of that, and they're just fabulous.
Yeah,
on fiction.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe you do, Patrick. Why are the UKs of the Cure so much better than the US? I mean, it's not even close.
I don't know. Someone's been sending me a lot of UK Cure stuff and Dutch. So I haven't listened to a lot of the US stuff, but I have been fortunate that people have sent me a lot of the UK Cure stuff. And that was an era of music that I really checked out. I haven't really got into that era of music until very recently.
Same here. I was listening to the Grateful Dead in the 80s.
Yeah, I was listening to like metal and stuff like that. I was not listening to that stuff at all.
Right.
So it's new music to me.
Hey, Josh.
Well, that would be nice. So if Rhino Hi-Fi does a box set of the Cure, that would be amazing.
Or the Smiths.
Well, the Smiths as well. Again, these are suggestions I've given Patrick Milligan, and I mean, I think it's all negotiating with the band at this point. I was told, right? That's where he's dealing with it, so it's the band that has to approve of it. Just like with the ZZ Top box, it was the band that had to approve
Right.
it.
But sorry to interrupt, Steve, but Rhino did a box set of the Smiths like in 2010, 2011.
But it would be digital cuts, right? So again,
Probably,
allowing
yeah.
the master tapes to go to Kevin or whoever's going to cut them for Rhino, I don't know. Yeah, but it's a band approved thing, is what Patrick Milligan did tell me. So it's him chasing the manager talking to the band, and the band. These, I don't think the band puts as they're not as into it probably as we are. I know I hate to say it, but they're not. They're probably busy with their concert.
Think about some project. Yeah, go ahead, Patrick. Sorry.
I'm just saying, like there are some guys who are really into it, but the majority of them are definitely not.
If you're negotiating with Robert Smith of The Cure,
yeah,
I mean, he's got an album. Their latest album has been remixed and redone. It's they toured last year. They played several songs. The album is still not out. It's crazy.
Well, there's a YouTube guy named David Donnelly who's a great musician who's very good friends with Robert Smith. So we could ask him to put in a good word and say, hey, why don't you rubber stamp this Cure box set for Steve Westman? So
I'm not looking to get my name in another album. Come on.
you would win the eternal adoration of 80s women all over the world.
I definitely get into Patrick Milligan's ear. So I sent him list after list, and Smith's, of course, box set, Cure box set, the Stooges. I want to see that by Rhino Hi-Fi. I mean, there's lots I gave him, right? So I mean, that would be amazing. And I know we keep saying it, Zeppelin box set again. There you go. Zeppelin box set, sure, that would be great. But Jimmy Page likes his digital remasters, so good luck on that. New Order was another one I suggested as well. Again, what I was told was, it's a band thing. It's got to chase the band and the manager, and these guys are busy doing concerts or doing.
Does Rhino do Factory? Did they do Factory? Is that their imprint? Is that their?
I don't know. But Violator, Depeche Mode, that's actually one of my favorite. I have the CD, of course. That's a great album. So good.
I like to have all the 12-inch singles of Depeche Mode done. That would be cool.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Well, New Order, they reissued and remastered that 1987 Substance album late last year, and I think that got really shitty reviews. If I'm not mistaken,
that's the greatest hits, though, right?
It's it's not it's
a collection of
collection type of thing, compilation.
The original's great.
Yeah, but it goes for a lot of money. The UK original. 1987 Substance is over probably $150 and up, right? So I mean, this was.
I got one in Nashville for $50, like when I was there.
So prices, guys, on everything. I mean, if you guys are collectors thinking you're going to buy some of these records to make money and flip them, I think that dream's over. I'm sorry.
No, not on the newer stuff. I mean, I don't really buy records to make money. I buy them to listen to first and foremost. So.
I go to garage sales I go to garage sales to find records to make money, and so that's not where I'm going to find.
I do a little bit too, but just anyway,
I've seen you at a flea market.
I'll be selling this weekend, but
I know.
But yeah, I'll buy some things like, if you see a double Wally Boston in the wild for $5, that's easily.
It's a no-brainer.
10, 50, it's a no-brainer. And a few other classic rock pressings, but I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it to offset what I'm going to be spending anyway on the stuff I want. But like you're saying earlier, Patrick, I mean, if I'm going to spend $200 or whatever on a record, it better sound better than anything I've ever heard. Because I'm buying this shit to listen to at the end of the day, not to put on the shelf and a cure. I mean, I have investments and other things for that. But if I mean, I don't ignore the value. I mean, I look at my Discogs values like anyone else, but I don't lose my shit if it suddenly goes down or a record goes down. It's like, does it sound good? Great. If not, then I'll probably sell it.
Shit, I didn't know.
You can't treat your Discogs collection value like you treat your IRA in the States or RSP in Canada, the retirement fund. It's not the same thing. I mean, this is a hobby. We're having fun, man. You're not going to get rich flipping records. Not happening.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, there was probably 5 minutes in the 2000s, 2021, where you could buy two, and then sell one for double and pay for the other one. For like 5 minutes. But then, like I was saying earlier, if people are making that much money on a secondary market on a recent contemporary record, why wouldn't the manufacturer pick up that nickel, right? So
it's like scalping tickets. You know,
Right.
yeah,
now the artists are getting in on it. They're going,
right,
hey,
exactly.
why should we lose out on this money?
Or Ticketmaster is selling it to you twice on the initial ticket.
Yeah,
and
they
on
own
their own
StubHub now.
secondary.
They
Yeah.
own StubHub now. So yeah,
I'm not even sure how that's legal. I mean, not to date myself, but when I was a little boy, you know, we'd go out, we'd fucking camp out in front of the venue,
Yeah.
and we'd get the tickets the next morning. So that seems to be the most equal way to do it. And I don't know, it's not the same anymore.
So
Old
that's a
man
good
yells at cloud.
Yeah, Bourbon Street. Good point, right? Your Discogs medium value, if it's $80K, you'd be lucky to get 40. I mean, if you were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, Jefferson, God forbid, and I mean, honestly, let's talk about it. Your wife, Mrs. Tublandia, takes the Tublandia collection to Mike at Ingroove. He's going to give you 40 cents in the dollar if you're lucky. I mean, she's going to get that.
She's not going to go to Mike at the Ingroove. I can guarantee you that.
I'll give Mrs. Tublandia a call.
Play with me a little bit here. You know what I'm talking about, though. You're going to go to someone that can buy the whole collection, get the cash, and move on. But it's going to be 40 cents in the dollar. It's not going to be anything close to what Discogs is showing.
Well, the thing with Mrs. Tublandia, she's probably going to keep half of it for herself because a lot of it, she loves music as much as I do.
Yeah, she's not one of those wives that doesn't like music. So it's not, yeah.
But I have very clear succession plans if that, God forbid, was to happen. So anyway. But yeah, you're right.
So Dorgan, 40% of the median is, if you're going to sell, if you're to sell your whole collection, I know Josh is on here too. It is probably 40%, depending on the titles, right? I mean, it could be even less. Who knows?
Right.
That's why get rid of them now and buy more records while you can.
Buy OGs are cheaper too. They sound, depending on your system. If that's
what I do. Everything that I sell, I put back and I buy more records. Everything I make on selling records, I buy more records. Every single penny. So. I'm my addiction.
And I'm finding too that I'm buying a lot more OGs than ever before. I'm not buying as many of the audiophile pressings because they're expensive and the exchange rate, everything's killing me. I mean, I complain about it a lot, but why should I spend $285 on one record, Canadian, when the smoke clears? That's crazy. Actually, for what?
Christopher wants your wife's digits, Jefferson.
So we're not giving out Mrs. Tublandia's number when Jefferson gets hit by a bus.
Number. Sorry, Patrick.
No.
I'm not asking Christopher. No, Christopher. It's not me. Christopher wanted it.
Well, I know Mrs. Tublandia. I know Mrs. Tublandia is watching the show. She is a fan of the show, so she's listening.
Yeah. So I've got a question. I've got a question for Jefferson. Uh-huh. When you do your pop-up shows, are you selling like kind of a smattering of everything, or do you have like a little collector's rack, like high dollar records, or what? Just
I have it's funny you mentioned this. I don't know if I can show this. Hang on. I have a smattering. But I'm going to try and debut this thing at the next show. My little holy moly wall. Can you all see that?
Well, I'm going to put it full screen. There you go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is not what I'm going to be selling.
Is that an original harmonia?
Oh, hell no. That'll be buried with me, Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so could I send
you?
Would you take this on consignment?
What are you charging? Because is that 5%? So Tim, remember back in hang on. Remember back in elementary school doing multiplication, 0 times 0 is still 0. There's no fee when you can't sell the thing.
Oh, I saw some meme that someone was arguing that concept the other day. But seriously, all I'm trying to do and what I usually do is just try and offset what I'm spending on shit for myself.
Yeah, cool.
And I too am focusing mainly on originals. So what I bring is if I get something, I upgrade it. Like I just upgraded a Stooges, and so I'm going to take my old version of the Stooges and sell that, and
nice.
And then I have a few things that Proposition Joe said, buy $4, sell it for $2. So I have a few things like that, but it's mainly things that I've upgraded or things I don't like anymore. I mean, if I could wave a magic wand, I would take my collection, let's just for argument say it's 4,000 records, and make that a 1,000 record collection of very heavily curated and rare and stuff that I like. But
I'm starting to purge stuff like that right now. So stuff that I've recorded on my current system that I don't need to have, I'm starting to pull and go, okay, I'm getting rid of this. I don't need to have it physically. I have a great version of it to listen to.
Well,
so I don't need
and
it.
that's
you're
and
smart
that's
too, Patrick.
and that's my problem
you've got
too.
Rips of it all too.
Yeah, I can take it anywhere I go. So yeah.
And Jefferson, that's my problem too. I have all these big UHQRs and MOFI one steps. I'm not listening to them.
No, it's because you got. Okay, let's listen to it. Just take off the box.
It's actual work. I hate that.
Smell the foam. You know,
I think I like that idea, Jefferson, because most people will list dupes on Discogs, and it's a drip and a drap, and I sold a record 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and then I do have some crazy heat, because I don't know if you saw my last video. I found a UK record dealer that shipped a bunch of stuff to New York, and I was able to intercept it before it went into the wild. And so I got some crazy heat there, like a SF Sorrow by the Pretty Things, an original Piper at the Gates of Dawn. I have the first 3 Funkadelics on Westbound. So I have a little flipper, old school alligator box that I have on my table. And I just said, heart attack box. And I just warned people, don't start flipping through there, because it's, what? Yeah, well, that's what it goes for, dude. And so I have a few like that, but they're like I said, they're in a box and they're right next to me on the table. So anyway.
So I've seen Jefferson selling at a record show, and Jefferson a lot of times is not at his records. He has Mrs. Tublandia at his records. So.
Remember what she said to George? George came to my table and was with Patrick, and I think Mazzy was there too, and I was out buying shit, and and so he asked Mrs. Tublandia, "Where's Jefferson? I wanted to meet Jefferson." And she's like, "Oh, he's out there spending the money we're making."
Oh my God! I wanted to bring something up here. Josh, High Fidelity Records. He was asking about if we talked about the Rhino 2009 Van Halen.
Is that the Hoffman Gray reissue?
So that yeah. So I mean, here's the thing, and I mean, Josh was telling me about this, and I wanted to put it up here, and I know you know about this, but here's the DCC Van Halen, right? Going for over $300. There's 5 copies. Now you can also get the Warner Rhino one here. Where is it? I can find it here. Hang on, I got it here, right here.
It's the same one.
Yeah, same one for $64. Exact same matrix. Here's the Warner matrix right there. You can see the etch. Yep. And you can see this is the DCC. It's got the same numbers on it as well. So if you want a Steve Hoffman, Kevin Gray, Van Halen cut, you can get that one for $60.
There's a lot of those floating around. The Saxophone Colossus is the same thing. You can get the Kevin Gray, Steve Hoffman, for cheap. You can or you can get the better sounding one, which is what Tim is holding up. So.
And then there's also the Chris Bellman 2015 from the Analog Tapes for $17. So. I don't know. That was the Van Halen 2, probably, was it? Probably
did a shootout of Van Halen 1 and the OG 1. So, yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ignore that last one. I think I put up a Van Halen 2 on there. But anyways,
with the black and white inner.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Oh, yeah.
So
game-changing album.
So thanks for that, Josh. Yeah, if you want a DCC cut for not a DCC aftermarket price, the Rhino or the Warner one, 2009, $160.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So there's how many? How many? There's probably going to be less. There was 21 copies today when I made this screenshot. So we'll see how many are left.
I mean, they even recycled the Gray Hoffman Tres Hombres and ZZ Top Fandango in the box set. So,
last week I had CCR's Cosmos Factory, and that's recycled for $30. That's the old plates that Kevin and
so word of advice: go to Discogs, click on Advanced Search, look at Matrix, and type in KPG or KG/SA. Type in those kind of numbers, and you'll find lots of things you never thought you could find. So, word of advice: Advanced Search is your friend.
we're talking about values, and everyone's into these numbered copies. We know Rhino did the limited, to 5,000, and they're now coming out with unnumbered copies of Black Sabbath. Of I think it's some of the Miles Davis or the jazz titles that they've released. You can buy them in stores and record stores. Thoughts on Rhino going unnumbered after they sold their numbered copies? Some people are upset.
It's fine,
I don't buy for the number.
You
I don't
can't.
care. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, I think it was Mazzy that said, nothing is ever limited, right? It's never. There may be just that set. That set is limited. That run of 1,500. Okay, great. But then they can just start repressing it, and they do it all the fucking time.
So
I know everybody
couple...
does it. I mean, if you're buying it for a limited number, then.
But here's the deal. I have number 3613, the box. I don't have number 3613, the record. I have the 3,613th box,
which was printed somewhere not even close to where the records were pressed. So there's just absolutely no correlation between the two.
I do know there are a couple of series that actually did do it with the records. They actually took care enough to do that. But most
Classic Records did it in the beginning. Apparently,
yeah, you're just getting the damn box numbered, and
the thing with the Black
record
Sabbath that people are upset about is it was just like the shoe was flipped, and it's like, oh, now we're going to do the unnumbered. Sometimes you'll see that happen 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years down the road. But
right.
It happens.
I think, but the demand was so. I think the demand was so great. They're like, oh god, we can make more money. Let's just.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's always better to have this stuff in print, though. I realize for people that bought it numbered that they're upset. But I mean, for everybody, it's always best to have these titles in print and not out of print. We need some more stuff in print.
So then does that mean? And I haven't looked again. The Black Sabbath, the numbered copies on Discogs have gone down in value because weren't they selling for 150 when they were first sold out? Are they under? They're probably 85, 65, 75 bucks right now. I would assume. What are they at? Anyone know?
I'll tell you the truth. I listened to mine, and I have a very clean original.
Yeah.
I flipped it for $129.
I got rid of mine.
Yeah.
I had more than one. I sold one. I kept one. I gave one to George.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you're really into Black Sabbath, Mrs. Tublandia, that's one of her favorite bands. And so I think you need to have a nice clean greenie, a Vertigo, if you can find one for reasonable, and then the Rhino Hi-Fi, because the Rhino Hi-Fi, in my opinion, perfectly splits the difference between the characteristics of the two. There's more grunt and heft and in-your-faceness on the Vertigo. I think the guitars are more prominent on the greenie, and then the Rhino Hi-Fi slips in the middle. So, but that's just me.
Michael Green,
you have to have both because the mix.
Hang on, Michael Green wants to know when the next Rhinos will be announced in September, so not that long from now. I don't know the exact date, but probably first couple weeks of September. It will be a Friday.
What Van Morrison title are we getting this?
It's not Van Morrison at all. Not Van Morrison. So, I mean, I guess, I think prices have gone down everywhere. I think you can't think of owning a record as a stock. This isn't Apple stock. This isn't Google stock. You're here. Yep. First of all, the record labels are putting this out for your enjoyment. They're also wanting to make money, hence why they're going to, press numbered copies, unnumbered copies. They look at demand. They're saying, hey, the market is demanding us to press more of these Black Sabbath. Let's do it.
Tell them to do Yes Drama. Why don't Yes Drama could use a reissue? No one's reissued that, I don't think. You do Drama. What a great sounding record that is.
I will say anything that you guys have thought about for Rhino, it's already been talked about. Patrick has a huge list. He has to go through a bunch of, higher ups as well to get the approval before he can go off to the band and management to, get the next steps going. So everything you can ever dream up has been, sort of thought of, and Rhino's looking at, doing that over the next.
So they've actually thought about doing a Moxie box set. Wow,
probably not. No, probably not that.
You said everything.
Well, you know what I mean. Don't take it, but I think everyone knows now. I mean, Discogs really, in a way, is made us think that our records are worth more than they probably are as well. So when you look at, I remember looking at, you look at the app and you wake up in the morning and, they've probably sold a lot of records in the middle of the night because us are drinking beer and you're tapping on that phone and buying stuff. But I mean, it increases the value. But I mean, you look at something like Donald Fagen's Nightfly One Step by MoFi. I mean, that was going for, I remember on the MoFi buy and sell, Jefferson, years back. I mean, there was people selling for $500 to $700 at some point. I don't think you could. I don't think those are going for more than 300 now.
If that, yeah, no, there for a minute they were going for 500 pretty regularly. And when I say regularly, for that, intense time in the middle of the pandemic. But
I mean, as we move forward, as we as things get older, I mean, they're going to have lots more inventory. MoFi will, of all these things. I mean, they got to dump them at some point. I wonder if they'll just start blowing them out 2-for-1 sales and stuff like that, right? I mean, who knows? Who knows what might happen? Can you imagine?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Michael Jackson 3-for-1 sale. All you can buy Thriller for $50.
Or someone will come around and discover something audibly that makes it so special that some people are going to start buying it. Like, oh my God, how did I miss that?
You're the only Stereophile approved guy here. Maybe it will be.
That's true. That's true. He carries some weight now.
Right. So that's big.
I don't know. It's hard for me to go to a record swap and not trip over 4 or 5 VG Plus copies of the Thriller and Off the Wall, and so they'll probably be around for a while, and those sound great. Bernie was just as good then as he is now. I mean, he's probably better now, but
Bernie's ears aren't better now. But
I know. I do know that they're not going to do an unnumbered ZZ Top box. That I can tell you. That's not.
Are they going to do individual? Are they going to do individual pressings of those?
I have no idea. Who knows?
I bet you that's what's going to happen, Patrick.
Yeah,
unnumbered individual pressings,
but not the box sets. Again, think about it. This is a record company. They're making money. They see a demand, but I know there's not going to be the 2000 they printed and pressed of the box set. They're not doing any more unnumbereds of that.
I just wish there's something selling that they just press it. I would prefer them not to go the limited edition route and just say, hey, as long as it's being bought, we'll keep pressing it. And instead of this whole manufactured rareness. Let's just keep things in print that are selling. Like if you get Black Sabbath in print, it would sell. It would sell all year round.
Well, I hope that Rhino Hi-Fi does another Black Sabbath title. I think that'd be awesome. Hopefully, we can see that in the new year. That'd be really cool.
I wish somebody would get a hold of the UK tapes and do a Black Sabbath reissue.
Again, it's licensing, right? Yeah. That's the thing.
Oh,
we lost Jefferson. I don't know what happened to him. I guess he's.
I'm here. I just working on the ambient lighting.
There you go. Well, we're at the top of the hour anyway, so we'll leave it at that. And again, we'll just on the close here, guys. I will say, don't buy your records thinking that you're going to have this lovely retirement fund in 25 years when you retire. That's what the stock market's for and other investments, not records. Records are to enjoy.
Now I have a rant. You said to pick shit to show. And we haven't shown jack. You said to pick stuff that you.
I did.
Yeah.
I have a tantrum.
So yeah.
Oh my. Hang on. Okay, hang on. I'll go over. Hold on. But I have to do this. Then I know you're gonna hate it, but I have to do it. I gotta find it. Hold on, because you were mad last time I did it. Unless I'm not calling it. I'm not calling. I'm not doing that. I'm not calling it a rat. I'm calling it the Peavithal Prattle. I'm doing it. Look at that. Look, that was an old picture. Look at that. You had your Buckingham Nicks up there. You had your Cowboys hat on. Look at that.
Yeah, that was the good old days. The good old days.
Yeah. Okay, let's just show me a few before we go. I don't want Patrick to leave here all with sour mouth.
Well, instead of talking about records that cost hundreds of dollars, this is something that I saw all the time, and I generally avoided my entire life, which is Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes.
Mm-hmm.
This is their first album, I Don't Want to Go Home. Little Steven Zan Zant. You can probably get this for $3. This is a great record. Really, really great bar band. Here's another body. Rod Stewart. Every picture tells a story. This is an original UK pressing, but the US was done by Gilbert Kong on the Mercury label. This is a great record. Great songs, great singing, great production, everything. You can get this for like $2. No problem.
Yep.
Speaking of Rod Stewart, the whole Ooh La La, Faces, what a great cover, great songs. This is a US on the Palm label. You can get this for probably super cheap. Sounds great, awesome album. Something that you can get also, this is Bright Yoakum Hillbilly Deluxe. Bakersfield sound probably brought back that kind of Buck Owens type thing to country. Almost done. This is a Ron Wood solo album. I've got my own album to do. Pretty much has the Faces and Keith Richard, and this is an awesome record, super easy to find. And last but not least, Trapeze, You Are the Music, We're Just a Band. Everybody always talks about Medusa. I think this album is way better than Medusa. They all went on to different things. It's the UK press that I got in Odessa, Texas.
Ooh, I like that one.
So
I like that.
It's a great record. But yeah, and then here now, speaking of expensive records, here we have the Funhouse ERC. This is the most I paid for a record since my my Zombies Mono or Odyssey and Oracle, and I'm selling that, by the way. So, but anyway.
Okay, so how does it compare to the OG? I don't think I saw that you did a video of it, but then it got pulled immediately. Yeah. So what was your thoughts?
It sounds OG. It sounds smooth as butter. I mean, it literally. I mean, if I could just imagine, you're a tape guy. It sounds pretty much as close to tape than I could probably imagine. That's what it sounded to me. What I listened to, it was like how smooth it was, and it sounded like tape.
ERC though, don't they just
haven't listened to it yet?
Yeah.
And
I'm curious. I'd like you to listen to it, and since you do tape so often, I'm curious if you agree with me that that's what it sounds like.
So Jefferson, ERC, I mean, they pretty much do a flat, like they take the tape, they don't do much adjusting right to lathe, right? So that's probably what you're hearing, Patrick.
Well, and there's the thing about ERC, it's so fashionable to rag on those guys, and it's fine. I get it. It's
because it's FOMO. It's 400 records only. That's part of the issue.
It's fine. Whatever. Say what you will about them, but it's a flat transfer. They're taking the tape. There's no compression. There's no EQ, and then what you get is what you hear. And so, I get a lot of flat copies of flat transfers all the time. And if you're not used to listening to it, it can sound dry, and it can sound like the mid-range is scooped out because they use compression to kind of punch it up, and it push it through whatever conventional everyday stereo you're going to listen to. But what you sacrifice with that compression is the dynamic range. And so you don't realize it until you hear, oh my God, I've heard really low bass notes. And then you hear a big swing, like when the horn section comes in or something like that. And so that's what they're doing. But I get why people don't like the sound of them, right? It's an intentional choice. So anyway, that's my.
I'm curious to hear what you say, what you think about when you listen to it. So.
I got one here. We know Because Sound Matters is coming out with Green Day Dookie, all analog. This is Because Sound Matters, Green Day Dookie, cut by Kevin Gray back in 2000 and what would this have been? 2008, all analog. So if you want to pick something up for cheap at your local record store, these are going. You can probably find these for 10, 15, 20 bucks all day long. I would think. There's lots of them out there. All analog, Kevin Gray, Dookie.
Nice.
And then we're going to do they're going to do a one step Because Sound Matters. I talked to Grover and I asked him, is it going to be 33 or 45 RPM? And they don't know yet. If it will.
What did Cookie Monster think about that?
I don't know yet, but but Grover said either 33 or 45 one step. They're not sure. Of course, it's all analog, which means they're going to have to run the tapes a bunch of times, right? That's another thing.
I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to that one.
Hey, Tim, what did you bring quickly? I know Patrick gets excited.
I'm going to show one thing I found just randomly yesterday. Everyone's seen this record, and remember, I'm in Colorado, and I flipped it over, and you can see that little.
They put it up again.
UK Vertigo.
It's a UK Vertigo.
Love the label.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And really, really, really clean. So I'm going to compare it to see how it sounds against this, but
I know what you're going to. I'm curious to see what you think because I guarantee you're going to like the Vertigo better.
I'm always kind of surprised I keep finding really nice UK pressings here, and there's a certain shop that they've got a new kid that they hired, and I think doesn't know, he's mispricing shit. So that was under.
Gotta love that. I gotta love that.
In other words, he's not going in Discogs, is what you're trying to say. Is that what you're trying to say? And you're not going to tell him, hey, you should look at Discogs, and you're not going to say that.
I don't think he knows between UK and US, but I can't tell
you.
A
lot of places don't. A lot of places don't. I look for the laminated cover and go, okay.
It's crazy, yeah. Anyway,
there you go. Well, guys, we'll leave it at that. Thank you. Patrick, thank you. Stereophile approved.
Yes.
Quite an honor.
Also, Conan approved. We'll get to that story later. But yeah.
Ooh, fun.
Ooh.
All right. Well, you know what I was
Steve,
thinking?
Steve,
You
can I
notice-
just show
Yeah,
two really
absolutely.
quick?
Go for
I'm
it.
sorry. I know we got to
No.
go. This is just really quick. I just want to say, if you guys are a fan of the band, music from Big Pink,
Yeah.
Those are Grenman
And the
cuts, aren't
Brown
they?
album.
Just the
So those
reissues?
are OGs.
These are OGs.
Those
My
are
point
OGs?
is,
Ludwig.
you can get OJs all day long, and you don't need to pay more than $50 for a clean one. And yeah, on the Brown album, you'll see it's Robert Ludwig. You want Robert Ludwig on both sides. If
And
you
that's
can
Green
find it,
Capital, right? That's a Green Capital label. Is
Green
that one?
Capital, yeah. And
The
then
other one's Rainbow.
green, and then the Big Pink is Rainbow. But yeah, you want Robert Ludwig on both sides, and if you get lucky, you may see SSRL on both sides on the Brown album. So anyway, that's all I have. Thanks, Steve.
Those do sound
Excellent.
great.
They do.
It beats any reissue that I've heard.
Although
you
that
can find
cheap
them all
box
day
set,
long.
that cheap box set that I have came
There's
out
one,
2 years ago.
Jefferson.
That
We
was
got to
pretty
do
good.
that video.
Sorry, I know
You've got
Okay.
one.
Okay, yeah. I was wanting to not mention that, so sorry, my bad.
No,
I got a bunch
that's
more though.
That's all good.
Any guesses on the next UHQR that should be coming out in the next month or so? And any guesses on the 2 Rhino titles before we go? Hi-Fi.
I'm hoping we finally get Ice Castles on UHQR.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I thought
Rock and
the
Rollin' has
Doors
been-
was the big reveal. I didn't know. And then
Yeah, there's one more.
Katie lied at the end of September.
Okay, I'm gonna say Street Survivors or Electric Ladyland. Finish one of those
Ooh,
bands. Finish
That would be
them.
nice. That Electric
Yeah.
Ladyland would be nice.
Street Survivors would be amazing.
They've done everything else by
But that
Analog
one.
Productions, but that one. So get it done.
Okay, that's okay. AP. So now for Rhino Hi-Fi, there's 2 titles in September. I think in the next couple of weeks coming out. What do you think they'll be?
Well, what it should be is like Deep Purple Burn.
Yeah.
And of titles that could happen. I mean, Deep Purple Burn for sure. I would do if they have access to the Purple label, do hard stuff. Do Bulletproof by Hard Stuff. But they would never do that.
There you go. Well, we'll see what happens. I think September we'll see some great stuff. I know in November there's another Rhino Hi-Fi twist again. I can tell you that. So that will be interesting when that comes out in November. So yeah, lots of fun. So, get your money ready.
Super limited. Jump on it.
And then someone
Yeah.
said our Rhino Rhino limited to 5,000. Yeah,
Joy
there'll be
Division.
There'll be
Leyland.
5,000 numbered, and I would assume, depending on demand, they'll do the unnumbers. I would assume that's sort of what they're going to do. And
Joy
I
Division would sell out in a day.
I asked about the Rhino Hi-Fi
Oh, yeah.
self-titled, and there's a possibility too that might be repressed unnumbered. I mean, it hasn't been. There's no one's told me for sure, but there's that possibility as well.
Slim.
Yes, John Bandy, a Moxie box set. There we go.
That'd be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. Smash that thumbs up button. This has been an awesome show. I think we've determined that these are, these aren't stocks. Buy them, and enjoy the records. If you can sell them for a profit, great. But once you get hit by that bus, your wife's going to sell them for 40 cents on the dollar. It's going to happen. Until then, guys.
See you, Steve. See
Bye-bye.
you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.